In part one, I checked out this Betacam SX I picked up off Facebook and determined that it turns on, and the lens needed some work. I got that kind of resolved, not fully, but kind of resolved. This time we're going to tear it down and see if it actually works. So we're in part two now. Thanks for stopping by the way. I've got this Betacam SX that when I try to load a tape, you'll see that all it does is it just rejects the tape. So obviously there's a problem. So let's pull the side off the camera and see whether we can see why it's doing this. Now, I myself know nothing about these cameras other than the fact that I know the side cover will come off relatively easy because they're designed for maintenance people to get into. So 4 screws should pop the side cover off and 2 screws to pop off the cassette housing. And then we'll be able to see the drum and everything else that's in the side of the camera. Well, that takes off the housing too, I think. I have to remove the screws on here. I probably do. Probably do have to remove these screws. Okay, so that comes off, and the side cover pops off just like that to reveal the inner workings of a Betacam SX. There is the transport. Is that a thing of beauty? You know what this is for? I bet you this is for forcing the tape out. It's got a bunch of detection switches down here, which will detect, guess what type of tape has been loaded. Let's just see whether this will okay, that loads like that. When I push this shut, it doesn't attempt to even load. Check out the drum on this unit. Let's count the heads. 5 heads there. Another 5 heads on the other side. This thing's got 10 heads that scan the tape. Holy crap. That's writing a lot of tracks on the tape. It's writing these tracks simultaneously, side by side, as the tape is moving. But still, when I put the tape in, it immediately kicks the tape out. I wonder if it's the tape that I'm using. I wonder if it's the right type of tape. So I think what we got on this one is, this is a digital Betacam tape, and this is an SX, which is digital, but it's a different format of digital. This is the lower range, budget digital, and it's compatible with. It has its own tapes, but it's also compatible with Betacam SP tapes. And I just so happened that I've got a Betacam SP tape from back in my Betacam days. There's detection holes on the bottom here. And different tapes have different detection holes. As we can see, it threads up, no problem. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just cover up the detection holes on the bottom of this digital Betacam and try to mimic the SP tape. So if I put some tape across the bottom here, I think I gotta cover up the middle holes on here. So if I cover this up like this, it probably will work. Let's see if it'll work now. Obviously this is not the right tape for the camera, but this is what was in the camera when I got it. I mustn't have the holes covered quite right. Let's just try this once again here. Cover that. Aha! So this tape's at the end. I'm going to rewind it. It obviously wasn't recorded on this machine. Isn't that interesting? Like a 8mm, it rewinds with the pinch roller fully engaged, just like 8mm. Now that I've tricked this into thinking it's an SX tape or an SP tape, I wonder if it will record. I guess we'll find out in a few minutes. Let's rewind this tape. There's probably something on this, but I wouldn't know what it is. And I doubt very much whether this machine will be able to play it, because digital Betacam is a totally different format. So I'll just let this tape rewind to the beginning. As the tape gets close to the beginning, it slows down. So obviously the circuitry is monitoring the rotational speed between the take-up and supply as it's slowed right down. And there it's at the beginning. Metallic leader is detected by the little pickup coil. There's one here and one here for the end. Now, let's just see whether this tape will play, if there's anything on this tape. I doubt that it's going to play anything, but let's just try it and see. So I put it in play. You can see how fast the tape is turning. The tape moves pretty good. Pretty good speed on here. That's more like it. That's what you want to see. Tapes moving quick. I hear something coming out here. Holy crap, it's got a picture. It's got a picture. This is someone's kid. Looks like a little Asian kid. Well, it was a white guy that I bought it from. But definitely it's got someone's tape, someone's recording on here. So what I don't know whether this is was recorded on this camera or recorded on a different one. As I say, this tape was in the camera and it was kicking the tape out initially. I just covered it up with some black tape and it's loaded the tape. As we can see, this camera appears to work. Other than the fact that it's kind of beat up, I think I scored an okay deal. See, that's what I had to do to make it work, was I had to cover this up with tape. Looks like somebody's been tampering with this too. But it's the detection switches here that determine whether it's going to load the tape or not. Whether it'll play back on my TV. Of course it won't. You know why? Because this is the PAL camcorder. There's the playback. And they're speaking Chinese. Well, that's kind of a bummer. I kind of not that I was ever going to use this thing, but I was going to if it records, which I don't know yet if it records, but it probably does. It plays, that's for sure. I was going to do a little demo with the camera. I guess I still can. I'll just have to do it in PAL and capture it in PAL and publish it in PAL, and we can still do that. So you guys can see what this thing looks like. But that's kind of a bummer. Anyway, I think we'll continue and tear this down. I'm going to pull the other side off because this is a teardown video. Now we know that it actually works. It's not working properly though. I still got to do some work on the lens because the lens is still giving me some errors. But let's take off this side of the camera, and we'll take a look at what's on the camera side. What would be nice is if you could just flip a switch and switch it to NTSC. Wouldn't that be something? It's not going to be that easy, unfortunately. Nice thought, but I can go drag my PAL monitor out. We can hook it up to a PAL TV and see how it looks on a PAL TV. I bet it looks fantastic on a PAL monitor. There, the side cover should come off on this camera without anything else coming off. The side panels should pull off. They are designed to be maintained after all. I just don't know what screws I got to take out to do it. It should come off with just those 4 that I took out. There we go. It's attached with plastic tabs so that it doesn't come off completely because you got the connectors here. So the power supply board at the back here. Video boards and camera boards and so forth. They should fold down or unplug, one of the two. Lift up these and the card should lift out. There we go, just like that, and this unplugs. So that card lifts up like this, out of the way. There's one board. This is a DCP-1 board. Good luck repairing that. The boards all just pop out of these, so that's one board there. And then this other board here, it should lift out as well. You see there's been a little add-on board that they've put on there to it. Should lift these ones out here, and this should lift out this next module. And that module lifts out just like that. There's 2 boards that are sandwiched together. They're actually quite hot. This must be one of the main processor, because this heatsink is quite warm. And it's only run for a few minutes while I was rewinding that tape. So that's the second board, actually the second and third, because it's a combination. So it's 2 boards sandwiched together. And I'm sure there's a plug that goes between them here somewhere on the boards. Anyway, there's components mounted. If we look down here, there's components mounted on both sides of this board. Talk about component or high density components. If you look down there, you'll see that there are parts mounted on both sides of that board. Hitachi chip. Nice tooth belt down here. This is the camera block up front. There's a little fan down here to cool the 2 or the 3 boards. So can you see how to get into the camera block to show you guys the actual imagers in here? You think if I just take out these screws, this board should lift out of the way and we should see the imagers under here. That's the filter wheel. Yeah, let's remove those screws. It does have some of the surface mounted electrolytic caps in here as well. Doesn't have a lot of them, but there are a few. Will that lift out or not? It might not. It might be plugged into something else in behind here. That entire camera block has to come out as one piece. It more than likely does need to come out as one piece. I'll put these screws back in just for now. I gotta still do some work on the lens. The lens has a bit of a problem. It's not, the calibration's off on it. It's more than likely when I had the servo separated from the lens. The lens may have got moved a bit because the f-stop is not corresponding in the lens for what's printed on the lens here. It's off, so I think I'll have to just open up the, or take the servo off, set the lens to like 8.5 and closed, and then adjust the servo gears so that the reading is the same in the optical view or in the electronic viewfinder, so that when the lens is opened, the correct aperture shows, because it shows what the aperture is, and it's off a bit. I wonder how this camera block comes out on this unit. Does it come out from the other side by chance? Let's see here. Might come out from this side. We'll take out these screws on this board and see whether the CCD assembly can be observed. This may be blocked as well. I don't know how these come apart. The entire pickup may be removed from the front here. There may be a couple screws on the front that I take out, and the entire block will lift out. That's what I'm thinking. But this one here should pop out. That board comes out, and then there's another board below it. If this board will pop out. board's not going to come out. That one's part of the assembly that I'd have to pull the camera block out to get that one out, I think. So let's put those screws back in. Okay, I'm going to throw the camera boards back in place now. So these two slot in here. Plugs in like that. To lift them out again, you just use these tabs here to lift it. They go in like that, and then this other board, it goes in just like this. It slots into its holder and snaps in, and that single CN10 connector plugs in just like that, and then the side just snaps on, and the 4 screws that hold the cover on are tightened up. I'll power it up and make sure everything's working before I put the other side on, and then I just gotta recalibrate that lens, and we'll do a test recording on the camera. I'll just play it back on the viewfinder. Maybe I'll go find my little PAL monitor so we can play it back and look at it on a PAL. That'd be kind of cool. Okay, power up. Oh, something else I neglected to show you. Say you have a tape that gets jammed on one of these machines and you need to remove the tape. On the right side, there's a rubber cover that you can lift up, and that exposes this little red gear, which you turn with a screwdriver. You put your screwdriver in, push it in, and spin it clockwise. And what that will do is that will wind out your tape and eject it for you. So if I go to tape, for example, if I put this tape in and the camera, something messes up and the camera breaks down and I can't get the tape out, you can put a screwdriver in, spin it, and it will wind the tape back out. As you can see, it's actually unwrapping the tape as we do it. You see? It's winding the tape back in to the take-up spool. Now, why didn't they think of something like that for consumer cameras? That's just a little trick I figured I would show you guys. Anyway, I've got this Betacam SP tape that's mine from a long time ago that hasn't got anything on it that I need to keep. So let's just try making a recording on this one. So if I hit record, hit the button over here, hit record, it's in record mode, and we see what's in front of the camera. Zoom lens is working, as you can see, and it's recording my audio. I can see the audio level meters moving. I got a caution indicator on there. I wonder why that is. But it's recording. As you can see, it's recording directly in front on the bench. There's my little sign. We'll just stop the recording. I rewind it. Play. Rewind. So it does record. So it works, it records and it plays. It's just that it's in PAL. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this camera out and I'm going to do some recording with it. During the day, obviously. I'm not going to do it now, it's nighttime. But I'm going to do another video on this camera. We'll take the camera out maybe next week. And I'll do some recording on it in PAL. And then I'll upload a video, just a dedicated video taken off of the camera. It's got a little tally light switch on the back here as well to turn on the rear tally light. See, that's so that you will know if you're recording. If you hit the button, it'll tell you you're recording or not. You can turn that off so that people won't know that you're recording. You can turn the one off on the front, I'm sure, as well. The tally light on the front. That's so that a cameraman can record and the person that they're recording won't know that they're being recorded. So now it's on low, and it's also a high setting and off. That was always quite useful when out in the field, especially if you're doing news gathering. The last thing you wanted to do was announce that you were recording by having the red light come on. So you turn the tally light off, both on the front and the back, and then you could walk around with just your viewfinder pointed down like that, and carrying the camera by the handle, and you were recording, and no one was the wiser. And you turn off the light for the LCD as well, but then nobody was the wiser that you were making a recording. Used to do that all the time. When I did weddings, I used to turn the tally light off because as soon as the light came on, everybody saw. As soon as whoever was in front of the camera saw the light come on, they would freeze. It was like deer in the headlights, and they would freeze, and you could not catch any candid shots from people when that light was on. So I used to keep it off all the time. Anyway. So there's a quick teardown on this unit. I'm going to see if I can fix that lens. We'll continue that right now. See if I can get the lens calibration correct. And then I'll do another short video probably next week. And take this one out, hook it up to a battery pack, and take it out and just do some recording. And I'll play it back and capture it right off of the camera. I don't have an audio cable for it. It's a special DIN plug, which I don't have for audio out. So I'll have to make up a cable or use the earphone out or something to get the sound off of it. But we will do that. But anyway, one last time look at the mechanism. It's really kind of cool the way that this threads up. It threads up just like the original consumer home beta movie. It's almost 360-degree wrap, but in this case there's 10 heads on here, and it's moving at a pretty good rate. But anyway, I'll hit the eject button, you'll watch it unload. Head cleaning wheel over here as well on this unit. So you work with Betacam SP tape and of course the yellow SX, and this digital Betacam tape obviously was working in it because there's recordings on it. Unless they were made on a digital Betacam and this can play it back, which is possible. But that other tape was in the camera when I got it. it kicked it out immediately and it wouldn't load it. So until I covered up a couple of the detection holes, it wouldn't load it. Anyway, let's take a look at that lens and see if I can fix that. The side cover goes on just as easy as the other one. You just plop it on like that. Put the 4 screws back in, which don't even come out all the way. They've got washers on them. Because again, this was designed to be serviced in the field. See, there's the tape eject plug right there. And then that normally sits in just like that to cover it up. So right now I've got the lens on full zoom and I got the lens closed, but it's showing as f16. So I think what I need to do, besides remove the viewfinder and the microphone so I have a little more room to work on this, is I need to open the lens and just adjust the little gears on the back. Take the servo off and just adjust the little gears so that they correspond to where the lens actually is physically sitting, which is full zoom and the iris is closed. So I'll just pop out the screws in the top here and bottom so that I can lift the servo off and adjust accordingly. I'm gonna have to plug the viewfinder in so I can see what the heck I'm doing. Remember, got to watch out for that wire, because that that wire is soldered on, although it's going into the extender housing. I don't want to pull it too far. Alright, I'm just going to look at the settings here and turn that so it says closed, and turn this one so it says it's full telephoto. Alright, let me just check my settings and see whether it's correct. Closed. F16, right on. F11. Yeah, F11, F8, F5.6, F4.2, F2.8, f1.7. It's wide open and closed. Okay, now I've got the calibration correct so that it shows the correct settings for the lens. I'll put the viewfinder back on, and I'm going to close this one off because I've done everything I can on this video. On this one, we've had our teardown and kind of demo of the unit itself. The next one I'll do on this one, I'll do a test recording. We'll take it out in the field and do some recording with it, see how it performs. This one has put a SD card in here for setup, right? And a place you could set all your cameras up so they're all set the same, and then if you're doing a multi-camera setup, have the setup on an SD card, put it in like that, and it would then load all the settings so all your cameras were all set the same way. I'll do another one on this. We're going to go through the settings on it and how it works, and say I'll drag down my PAL monitor and we'll look at the output on a PAL monitor, and I'll do some shooting with it, and I'll capture that directly in PAL because I can capture PAL and NTSC directly onto the computer. So I'll do that in the next one anyway. This one's long enough for the demo on this and the teardown, and at least we know that it works. So there it is. That's my useless PAL format Betacam SX that I picked up off Facebook, and now I really think I paid too much for it because it's not even compatible with our TV system. Anyway, thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye.